also behave differently from suppliers. Normally are interested in lower prices. That the higher the price, the lower the quantity that will be demanded. Okay, so that is how rational or normal consumers behave. That is behave. Consumer or buyer may demand more when the price of a particular commodity increases. And that is, we classify that as what? An abnormal demand situation. Abnormal demand situation. So we are not interested in abnormal situations. We are interested in normal situations. Okay. So that is how we behave. Now, when these two forces are at play, okay, there's something we call the invisible hand. Okay, so once the invisible hand is operating, the supplier, either the supplier or the buyer, does not influence, okay, does not make prices. It is the price of goods and services. So once the supply curve intersect or meet with demand curve, then we will achieve, at that point, we achieve what we call equilibrium position. So when you trace the equilibrium position to the price as a, then we will have what we call the equilibrium price. And then when it goes down to the quantity as of, you will have the equilibrium quantity. So when equilibrium is achieved, there are no excesses or shortages because at that point, quantity demanded is the same as quantity supplied. But as I've already mentioned, consumers behave differently. We have different goal anytime we move to the market. The same applies to. So now we have equilibrium, but because we have different mindset, we'll be looking at achieving our objective because as a normal consumer, I want prices to go down. As a normal supplier, you want prices to go up. So when this thing, exists, it will move or it will destabilize the equilibrium position. So the price can either go up above the equilibrium position or it can come down. Now, when the price goes up or increases above the equilibrium, it creates a certain economic situation above the equilibrium position. Because at that point, prices are a bit higher than the equilibrium price. Suppliers are interested in that situation. So because it is above the equilibrium price, suppliers will supply more. Because as I've mentioned, suppliers are interested in higher prices. So they will supply more. But at that point, consumers are also not interested in higher prices. So they will cut their demand. So when this happens, the situation it will create is what we term as what? Excess supply. So supply will exceed demand. Supply will exceed demand. So in the short term, when prices or price of commodity goes up, it favors suppliers. But in the long term, it will not. Because once, especially if they are dealing in, or if the product in question is a perishable product, what will suppliers do? Because at that point, consumers are not buying. So what, in order to sell their product, they will go behind, the price by selling their product for prices far below the equilibrium price. This explains why sometimes when you go to the market, a full basket of tomato will be sold for as low as 5 cedis, 10 cedis, and so on and so forth. Because at that point, if they fail to do that, will go bad. Okay, so it happens. And then when you look at the other side too, when prices go below or fall below the equilibrium position, in the short term, consumers are happy. And because consumers are happy, because there is what? A decrease in prices, they will demand, or their demand will increase. And then at that point too, suppliers are not happy. So they will cut down their supply. So any price below the equilibrium will cause what we term as what? Shortages. Because demand will exceed supply. So in the short term, consumers are happy because prices are low. But in the long term, suppliers will not be supplying more. And because consumers or demand exceeds supply, and especially for goods that are classified as necessities, consumers will go behind the established price by paying more than the original equilibrium position in order to get those items. And this situation is what we call black market. You get it? So that is that with, the demand and supply briefly. I hope that is fine. And then there was a question on.
Thank you. That is clear.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Make or buy analysis. And I am so much interested in that topic because I have mentioned without severally that procurement is more strategic now. It is a boardroom function now. So we don't just make decisions anyhow. Decisions are made based on science, data. Okay, science or data. So we are going for option A or B. It is not because that is what satisfies the procurement officer, but from the figures that we have, that is the best situation. That is the best option. So procurement decision must be backed, must be supported by or with some data, science, not prophecies. So I'll go there briefly. I'll go there briefly, Richard. So this is what. So let me briefly go through what we did. I think 2 weeks ago, we were looking at estimating costs and prices, and I think we discussed. We talked about prices. We defined prices, what a price is. Talk much about cost. There are certain things next semester. So we define price, charges for a package of benefits offered to a In other, the compensation that is given to the owner of a resource in by, consumers of that resource or item. Once you want to procure, it means something. It means that that product or service does not belong to you. So in order to duly compensate the owner, then you exchange that amount. That is what we term as what price. So that is that. But we need to also understand that even though we are paying something to the seller as price, but it comes to the buyer as cost. What is being given to the seller, supplier as price will be recorded by the buyer as cost. Okay, will be recorded as cost. This is not to say that cost is only associated with the buyer. No, because in order for the supplier to produce any goods or services, they need inputs, they need resources or factors of production. And so to be able to get these factors of production, they will also incur loss. Cost. Okay. So cost is not only peculiar to, the buying organization. The supplying organization also incurs some aspect of cost because to be able to come out with any product or service, we need resources. Okay. And then we have types of cost. There are types of cost. So that's why I said we will look at this topic again. You go into all the types of cost, overheads. In some most you see variable cost, fixed cost. You will look at all those hopefully next semester. So if you look at prices again, we consider the factors that affect prices. And there were about 4 of them, 4 factors. First one was the product cost. Cost of producing the item. So the producer will calculate the costs of producing the item, and that will determine the price because there's no way the price will be lower than the cost of producing the item. So once the cost of producing the item is high, obviously you should know that prices of that commodity will be high. And then the opposite is also correct. And then the second factor is what we term as what market considerations. Market considerations or the forces of demand and supply. Okay, so this depends on the level of competition in the market. So all markets are not the same for certain products and services. Some products come with high competition or has high competition, others do not. Okay, so that will influence the price of that commodity. So the competition ranges from maybe a single supplier against many buyers to many suppliers and then many buyers. So this level of competition may affect the prices of goods and services. And then the next one is strategic consideration. Strategic consideration. strategic consideration. So for some strategic reasons, a supplier or the owner of a resource may overprice its product above the market prices. It is for some reasons. Why? Because they believe that consumers think that any product with higher prices are of high quality. That is what they think. So let us price such that it will be higher than the market prices. Or for some reasons, a buyer may say that, oh, our product is new. We are now entering the market. So let us reduce below market prices so that consumers will patronize. And once we receive the needed attention on the market, we can then increase gradually. Or maybe we want to outplay competitors, so we will reduce it. Okay, so for some, the reasons are basically for strategic purposes. Or maybe we want to clear our sales, old stock. So let us reduce it. So all these are strategic reasons. However, we shouldn't sell below the break-even point if you really want the company to continue to exist. So once it is a strategic purpose, we shouldn't go below the, what do you call it, the average prices. And then the final one is value to the customer. We call it perceived value to the customer. So here, it is the customer, but the producers or the suppliers are aware that this is the level of perception consumers have placed on our product. So sometimes the value will be high, sometimes it will be low. So once kind of value, it will influence how much they charge for their product. Okay, so that is that. And then we didn't talk about this, but it was actually part total cost of ownership. Why it is important to look at the total cost of ownership. So today, increasing concern is being directed at long-term or total acquisition cost and total cost of ownership. The price is important to the buyer, but because we see procurement as I've already mentioned, it is a strategic business focused function. We shouldn't be making procurement decisions solely on just the price. We need to be looking at this, the long-term cost of acquiring or owning a particular product, especially for capital goods. So this approach to costing is concerned with what the price of a product or service could be in the long term if a buyer or supplier work closely together and drove out necessary costs in the supply chain. What will be the price in the long term? So first, we look at total acquisition cost. So acquisition cost can be defined as all costs involved in bringing a supplier's product to the buyer's organization. It is made up of not just of price and freight costs, but any other cost in completing this activity properly. Example, any quality on delivery problems needed to be costed in. For instance, there are two key suppliers on the market. And as a buyer, you are located in Accra. Two key suppliers. One is located in Accra. The other is located in Tamale. The unit cost of that product for the supplier in Accra is 1,000 cedis per product. The one in Tamale is 800 cedis. 800 cedis, the unit cost. So if you look at this by solely focusing on price, then you'll be going for the product in Tamale. But once you consider the total acquisition cost, then you don't just focus on the price. Price is one of the things we consider, but not the sole determinant. We need to look at what? The freight. We need to look at other factors, other costs associated with what? The movement of the item from the supplier's premises to the buyer's premises. And then say that this is how much it's going to cost us. This is the total acquisition cost of this product. So moving the product from Tamale to a site in Accra, plus the actual price, the TAC, i.e. the total acquisition cost of the product per one will be 1,500 Ghana cedis. And then if you look at the product in Accra, moving the product from the supplier's site to our site, including the price, the total acquisition cost will be around 1,300 cedis. And therefore, it will be better to go for the Accra product if we are considering the total acquisition cost. I hope that is fine. And then the final one has to do with total cost of ownership. We've mentioned total acquisition cost, and then this is total cost of ownership. So TCO is an assessment of all cost, both direct and indirect, involved with an item over its whole useful life. So this cost assessment goes beyond the TCA, that is the total acquisition, acquisition cost. It goes beyond the product cost or the price of the product. Most frequently, the TCO is used at the beginning of the purchase process to evaluate which is the most cost-effective choice. Because we have a task, we have a mandate to reduce cost of procurement. And the best way to reduce cost of procurement is not just the price. We need to be looking at, a more detailed assessment. because the price of the product is just one. And if you are not careful, you may be deceived. So you need to look at the other aspect of cost. Other aspect of cost. But look at it. In most cases, when TCO is being used, we do that at the beginning of the purchase or the procurement process. As a result, because we consider TCO at the beginning, most of the costs included will be what? Estimates. Because you'll be looking at the cost of maintenance, you'll be looking at the cost of installation, cost of upgrade, electricity costs, among others. So how do you cost all these now? Assuming the item will be in your possession for maybe 10 years, for 15 years, how do you calculate this? So it will be just an estimate. So the danger is that if you are not good at estimates, you may be using wrong figures for your TCO, and that will be more dangerous for your procurement decision. I'm saying this because people have specialized in estimate or forecasting. So if you're not sure about estimates, you get the services of what? A qualified people to do that estimate for you. So assuming electricity bill for maybe this is 200 cedis now. Assuming ECG bill increases by, let's say, 10% on the average every year for 10 years. So there are instances where it will go above 10%. There are instances where it will decrease, go down. Sometimes the government steps in and say that, oh, let us subsidize this. Or things are not looking good, so let us increase it a bit. Okay, so you need to consider all that before you can say that this is how much electricity consumption will be in the next 10 years. This is how much maintenance for 10 years will be. This is how much this will be. This is how much this. So in all, once we are looking at TCO, this is how much this product will cost at the end of the 10th year. So in considering TCO, first you look at the price, you look at the acquisition cost, and then all other costs are considered before we can make an informed decision about the product. Because the aim is not just choosing lower prices or lower price goods, but minimizing procurement costs. So what could look like a good price from a supplier could suddenly escalate if problems occur. So once you mess some aspect of the product in terms of costing, you may think that, oh, the product is good, the price is okay. But the moment there's a problem, then you see the actual cost of the product. So it is important we look at cost from that angle. Any question? Because no, I'm not asking any question again because I did at the beginning. Then you did make or buy analysis. Make or buy analysis. And I said, this is very interesting topic. And it's not only about make or buy. There are a lot of decisions that we make in procurement. There are a lot of them. And whatever decision, whatever strategy we are opting for, once I've already mentioned, must come superior. Okay. So under the circumstance, this is the superior decision. This is the superior choice. So decisions like make or buy. Why are we making the product? Why are we making the service? Why are we doing it ourselves? Why do you think we should go outside? Right? Why must we do it in-house? Decision like outsourcing, giving a session or part of our service to an external organization to perform on our behalf. Why? So these decisions are critical or crucial decisions. So we shouldn't be making them in a hasty manner. Okay, so once we say that we are going for an outsourcing, it means that we have analyzed the situation well, and under the circumstance, it is the most superior option for the organization. Outsourcing. And I want you to, go back to that, notes, read on outsourcing. Why? Why are we doing it? Oh, it will save us money. We will get the opportunity to focus on our core mandates now. Why are we looking at single sourcing or sole sourcing? Why? There are so many suppliers, but we are looking at single source procurement or sole source procurement. It is very common, especially in public procurement. But the fact is that it is not a crime to use a single source procurement. Even in the Procurement Act, it makes room for the application of what a single source procurement or sole source procurement. However, we must conform to the conditions for its application. So why is the organization opting for single source procurement over competitive tendering? Why? And I'm saying that at every point, the decision, the justification must be superior to what was ignored or was not selected. So once you do that, then we can say that you are applying, best procurement strategies. Best procurement. There are a number of them. But I'm saying that if you are going for one, it means that under the circumstance, it is the most superior strategy. What you forgone shouldn't be superior to what you are using now. That is the point. If you do that, it means that you don't really understand what you're doing as a procurement person. So your decision now should be superior to what you didn't use. That is the point. Dual sourcing from two different sources. Why that decision? You must have some justification. And that justification should be superior. So for today, for this year, it is this. Last year, we went for single source. Or last month, we used single source because looking at the other option, it was the most superior strategy. Okay? It must be superior. Multiple sourcing. Global sourcing. Going global. The products are available on the domestic market, but we want to source from the global market. Why? Why? So the justification for your choice, I'm saying that justification should be superior, should be bigger than what you didn't use. But when you realize that what you didn't use had a better justification than what you're using now, then it means something is wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. And you can go straight to, for public procurement, you can go straight to Instagram. I'm telling you. But the funny thing is that, you come to Ghana, everything is politics. Okay. Everything is politics. Systems do not really work. Okay. So politicians control judiciary. Okay. So that is a problem. But elsewhere, where systems work perfectly, you go to jail and nobody will come to your rescue because you didn't do the right thing. Sometimes you source through partnership sourcing. Maybe you do that with even the suppliers. Why? Why are you doing that? It is very common in private procurement. So these procurement, you go to these oil companies, they do that a lot. These mining companies, they do that a lot. Partnership, they do that with their suppliers, or they have other partners elsewhere. Okay, because they want to, as much as possible, reduce cost. So once the supplier is involved at the beginning of the procurement process, most of these unnecessary costs will be eliminated. So they will do that. Oh, we can't get the product today. In fact, we can get it from this country. We can do this, because you started the process with the suppliers, the potential suppliers. So you know where we get in these items. So these are all best procurement strategies, not just make or buy. In fact, we say that once you have the option to borrow, do that before you buy. Buy before you build. But we need to, I've already said that we need to support it with what? Science or data. Okay, so what is the situation? Why are we doing it? It is because of this and that. Okay, because in trying to define procurement, we said it is a bigger or wider concept and entails a lot, okay, including purchasing or buying. Sometimes we acquire goods by just borrowing, by leasing it, or using, it could be a PPP arrangement. Okay, so we need to explore all those options before we take the final one. So it is not only about buying all the time. Why are we buying now? And they will tell you that, oh, let us buy to decrease risk such as cost, such as time, performance, scope, and all that. So let us buy. Because once we decide to make it ourselves, it's going to cost us. In fact, in terms of the cost, is going to be high on us. The time you will use in making the product will be too much for us. Others will say that, oh, let us make it, let us do it ourselves. When we have idle plant or workforce, or when you want to remain in control, that as for you, you do everything on your own. You don't depend on any external person or party or agent in producing A or B. Or sometimes the work involves proprietary information, product, or procedures. So it is just you. We can't use any external maybe item. Not all suppliers can provide whatever you need because your needs are proprietary. So it must be designed. Somebody would say purpose built, purpose designed items. Okay, so that is why we do this analysis, make or buy analysis. And it's one of the numerous procurement strategies that whatever strategy we are using, we must get a good justification, a superior justification for using a particular strategy. Why are we making it? Why? Why are we leasing it? Why are we buying it now? Why? It must be solid over what we didn't consider. And you had this as an example. So this is a typical situation, and it will come to you in most cases as procurement officers. Not very common in, in public procurement, but in private procurement, in these mining companies, you do that analysis a lot. In these oil companies, you don't just get up and make decisions. You must have this, you know, assessment or calculation. You must do it. So when you are called to defend whatever decision you are making, you must have it. Okay, you can't say that, oh, it is because of the prophecy I received. No, we don't deal with prophecies in procurement. No, or the vision you had that I should use single source procurement. I had a vision that, oh, single source is the best because I should go. No, if you do that, you go straight into our. You must, you must support it with a very good scientific justification. So I think there was a question on this. Okay. So let me see. I think there's a comment here. Okay, so assume you can lease an item you need for a project for 900 cedis a day. And if you want to purchase it, the cost is 15,000 cedis plus a daily operational cost of 300 cedis. So once you see this, then you say that, oh, let us lease. The purchase cost is too much. You don't talk like that as procurement officers. You need to evaluate it. You need to, observe it well. Don't just talk because, oh, that this is this. No, or the 15,000 is just too much. You don't do that. You need to sit down, look at the figures, and then make a good recommendation. So from this example, if you
Hello,
do
sir.
it,
Hello, sir.
okay, Ni, go ahead.
Sir, please, before you proceed, I just want to know if I'm in line with what you are saying. So,
Mhm.
assuming I'm a procurement manager of a company and I have to look at, we want to procure buses for our workers to go home and then come to work. And then the difference between going to rent
Okay.
the buses for them to go home with, is this the scenario of the make or buy solution that you are describing now?
Yeah, perfect example. Perfect example.
Okay.
Perfect
Okay.
example. So when you have this, it will come to you. Let us lease. And then people are pushing, oh, let us go and rent, let us go and rent. And then you, as a procurement officer, you look at it and say, but how much will the bus cost us if we decide to buy and maintain it or operate it? How much would that cost us? How much would that cost us? Typical example, I think I've mentioned to you that I briefly work in a mining company. When you go to the mining company, they don't have tarred roads. I don't know why. I think at one time I asked, they said, oh, it's because of the heavy duties they use. You know, the heavy duties they use, on the mining premises. So that's why most of their roads are on tar. Okay. So this company I worked, it was between 2011, 2012, thereabout. Yeah. 2011 before I came to GCT. I joined GCT in 2012. So from the mining company, I came to GCT. So instead of this serious mining company, instead of buying these vehicles, they used to, water the roads. They had given the contract to somebody. So somebody was in charge of, how dusting, watering the roads. So I was asking a lot of questions. They said, you see, young man, be careful. You don't ask all questions. So look at the environment. This is somebody's contract. This is somebody's contract. So you ask yourself, what will make a mining company to give this to somebody else to do it? Because mining is a going concern. It will not end now. And if they are serious to be in business, buying that vehicle, one or two, would have saved the company more than giving that aspect of work to a third party. Okay. But people will push it. Why? Because they are going to benefit. So it is outside procurement. It is outside. They are not thinking about the benefit of the organization, but their individual benefits. And that is dangerous. Okay. That is dangerous. So people do that a lot. So when we are making a decision, people will be supporting a particular decision, not because they care so much about the organization, but their pocket. Their pocket. That's what I'm saying. But as a procurement officer, you need to make the recommendation. So if majority are saying that this is what they want to do, you have already made, because you are not the spending officer, you are not the CEO, you are not the MD, but you make your recommendation as a professional. If they will use it or not, you have done your bit. Okay, and it must be on record that this is what you recommended. This was your recommendation. This is your recommendation. Okay, so anytime people will come back, auditors will come, they will know that, oh, this came from the professional. Professional said you should do this, and then the organization went to decide. You have done your bit, because you cannot force decision on the organization. Some organizations, they have, in fact, marginalize your power, your role, because they want to control certain things. That is fine, but your recommendation must always be captured.
So you mean it should be on record?
Yes. So don't just say it. You write. So after
Okay.
going through the situation, this is what you recommend as a procurement officer. Reasons are these. You push it, and it will be on the company's record that making or deciding on this project, this was the procurement officer's recommendation. It is up to the management, okay, to decide. If they say we are going this way, outside what you recommended, that is fine. But your recommendation is intact. It is there. It doesn't change anything. It is there. So that later years to come, when people try to interrogate your decision, they will know that this is what you made. But management say no. Okay, so you are free. You won't go to Nsawam. In fact, you Nsawam will be far from you. So I said that records keeping, records, very, very important. Records keeping. And in procurement decision, word of mouth is dangerous. Avoid them. Word of mouth, dangerous. Avoid them. So when you see that this is becoming dangerous, find a nice way to have it in writing. Have a nice, oh boss, can you please send a small email to, do this so that okay, so that it will be captured. Don't let your boss tell you, oh, just do this, just do that. No. You see, in fact, I've mentioned to you that I'm the department exams officer. This is this is outside procurement. So sometimes students will come to me. They will say, "Oh, the HOD says this result." I say, "Go and tell the HOD to send me an email." Once I receive the email from the HOD, it will be worked on. The HOD will never send the email. So say I spoke with the HOD. He said, "Oh, you should." I said, "Oh, that is fine. Tell the HOD to email me, okay, and then I'll work on it." HOD would never send me email. Okay, so me, I don't work with word of mouth. No, unless maybe it's a private conversation we are having. But one is official, no word of mouth. I don't do that. Okay, so you must, your recommendation is based on the facts, the figures. So at the time when you look at the figures, this was the best decision. If it is the worst decision now, that is fine. But during the time, these were the factors you looked at. And at the time, this was the best decision. Okay. So that's why I said that we are not prophets. We don't believe in prophecy when we are making procurement decisions. No, it is facts and figures, science. So if you understood that, the calculation, can we quickly go through this? Maybe I don't know where you are now. Some of you, I know you are still on bed. You are
Hello,
enjoying your
sir.
sleep. Yes, sir.
Sir, can dual sourcing be also termed as restrictive tendering?
Okay. So when we say dual, it is basically when you are looking at two sources of, two sources for your needs. Okay, two sources. So maybe you are looking at maybe company this, company that. Okay, it is not necessarily a procurement method, but a strategy. Restricted tendering is a procurement method. It's a procurement method. Okay, it's a procurement method, but dual sourcing is not a method, but a strategy. Why? Because, and I have mentioned it. Don't forget to, whether I'm teaching you or not, don't forget that whatever decision you are making, you must have a solid justification. So why are you pushing for dual sourcing? The reason is this product or this item is crucial to us as a buying organization. Very crucial. So failure to get the product will affect our operations. Okay. And the product in question is so critical, not readily available. Maybe a bottleneck item. I think, yes, bottleneck, we did it. The crisis matrix. It's not this class, yes. Non-critical items, leverage item, bottleneck item, strategic item. The crisis matrix. Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So this case, if you depend on a particular supplier and the supplier fails to meet our expectation, what will happen? We will suffer. So in order to avoid that, we are looking at two sources. Okay, two sources. So that if this one fails to get all the needed item, we can fall on this supplier. So that's why we are pushing for dual sourcing. That's why I said it is what? A strategy, not a method. Why? Because you are making the second source is more or less an insurance. Okay, so that failure on the first one will be, handled by the second supplier. So that is that. So don't treat the two as methods. One is a method, the other is not. So that is why even in public procurement, in terms of methods, we do not see dual sourcing as one of them. Is that okay? So it is a procurement strategy. So I said that why are we doing it? It is because of this. We want to avoid any last minute disappointment. Any last minute disappointment. So we are dealing with two suppliers. This supplier could have been given the full contract, but we are saying that, oh, you supply us 50%, you supply us 50%. It is because of this. Because we don't, due to the nature of the product, we don't want any disappointment. So once this one is failing, we can give 100% to this company. If this one is failing, then maybe 80% this company. Because the product in question here is critical to our operations. Very critical to our operations. So we do not want to joke with it. So that is why we are using dual sourcing to get these items. Simple as that. Simple as that. So ask the gentleman, Nathan, Nimanche, Randolph, all the guys, ask them, why are they dating too? They have some of them, they are married. They are still dating. Ask them. They will give you solid reasons. They will give you solid reasons why. Insurance. So when the day is not good, it's not bright on this side can, save you. That is what they will tell you. Ask Nathan, ask all the gentlemen here. It is called dual sourcing.
Example there.
Oh, sir.
So that is that. You don't want any disappointment. So you go here, they will tell you, oh, today Kotoko is on the field playing. You don't want any disappointment. So you are here, and then it works perfectly for you. You have secured the future. Very bright. Okay. All right. So let's quickly look at this. I don't know. I've not set my questions. I don't know, but
Hello, Doc.
go ahead, Mike.
Okay, so a disclaimer first, then I proceed on a lighter note. Okay, so like the oil issue, the crisis we are facing because of the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay.
So you realize that when those crises started, it began. Ghana now, we are dealing more with Dangote in Nigeria.
Okay.
And I think the dual sourcing is one typical example.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. Why? So you ask why? Why are we doing that? Do you
To
know
ensure
why?
ourselves, so that you see when the prices and the things that are happening, if we didn't have Dangote, now we'll be paying like 25 cedis per liter also.
Yeah. So that is that. So you look at the best option. Okay. So even though I'm saying that somebody will push me, oh, let us do this, let us do this. It is not in the best interest of Ghana. It is in the best interest of their personal pockets. Okay. So that is that. Okay. So how many of you can solve this question? How many of you? Just look at it briefly and tell me how many of you can solve it. Okay, so Bismarck can solve it. Wonderful. Apart from Bismarck, how many? Oh, Bismarck, you have a question?
No, I just raised my hand to let you know I can solve it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So Nathan can solve this. Wonderful. Hey, so only two of you. Please let me see your hand. If you can't solve, okay, now let me ask. Who can't solve this question? Who can't solve it? Okay, one, two. Okay. Hey, wow. Okay, so they are just eight. Good, 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 good. 7, 8, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so it means that we need to look at it again. Okay, so this thing happens. And I said we need to do the calculation and make a decision.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I think I'm raising my hand, but my network is then messing up with me. But first, like for a clarity, right? So then the explanation you've given to me on dual sourcing is very clear. So I want to refer that to the multiple sourcing. So meaning that multiple sourcing is also a strategy, not a method, as in competitive. So meaning I can't compare, I can't relate multiple sourcing to competitive tendering, right?
No.
Okay, so meaning multiple sourcing meaning at a time, at a time as in the dual, at a time we are procuring from multiple sources.
Sources, yeah. Yeah. So you can break the contract into maybe four parts, maybe 5 parts, and then one company handling each. Okay, it is for a reason. For a reason. There's a reason why you are doing that. Sometimes you are focusing on just one supplier. It is for a reason. Okay, so why sometimes we are just single sourcing or sole sourcing? It is for a reason. And I'm saying that whatever reason we have must be in the best interest of the company, not you, the practitioner. Not because the company will, grease your palm. No. It must be in the best interest of the company. I told you a friend of mine works in a public university hospital as their procurement officer. I went to his project site some years ago and I was surprised. The house was massive. The roof was serious. And from a distance, I was shouting, "Hey, Nana, hey, Nana, hey, Nana." So we got to the location. Massive building. And then the guy sat me down and said, "Joe, this is how I do things. You are my friend, so let me tell you." He told me everything. And my mouth was wide open. So whatever the guy was doing, now I've not seen for over a year or so was not in the best interest of the university hospital. No, his personal interest. Apparently, all the oxygen the company procures was through a particular company. The company was very close to him, a foreign company. So that company was, blessing my friend almost all the time, blessing him almost all the time. And anytime auditors go there, the queries, I saw a couple of them. Every time they were questioning why the guy was selecting a particular company for the oxygen needs of the hospital. So we need to be very careful. Okay, so quickly, let's look at this. Let's look at this. So now you have a question like this. You do the first part, the A, how long will it take? In fact, the purpose for the first part is that once you do the first part and you get the answer, it will tell you the decision to take in the second part. Without even calculating the second part, it will tell you. But because it is mathematics, and because this is likely to maybe appear in examination, you don't just sit here and then be telling us the outcome without showing what workings. You need to prove that you did this. Okay. But the A alone, by just solving the A, you can just look at the B sides and tell us that, oh, this is the best option, this is the best option, this is the best option. But I'm not interested in that because I want to see that you can actually work. So this question, let's look at it briefly. I said that when you have a question like this, we are interested in the first part. How long will it take? So we need to have the purchase equation. We need to have the lease equation. So from this, the purchase equation, to purchase the item, what is the equation here or the function here? It is 13,000 plus 300 cedis D. That is the purchase function. The lease is 950 cedis or 950 D. So the A part, set up an equation so both options, purchase and lease, are equal. So from that, we have purchase, P equals L. P is 13,000 plus 300D. L is 950D. So that is that. And then grouping items. So we have 13,000 equals 950D minus 300D, because the 300D is crossing the equal sign. It is positive here. So once it crosses, it becomes negative. Do you get it? Those with difficulty. Like terms of, so it crosses, and then we have 300. So 950D minus 300D. And then it becomes 650D. And this side is 13,000. But we are interested in the duration, the D. So what do? We divide both sides by 650. Both sides by 650. So once we do that, D equals 20. D. So it means that it will take 20 days for the purchase cost to be the same as the lease cost. So once you know this, now, if the company will need the product or item for 19 days, what should be the decision? You can easily tell from just this side. If the company will need the product for 40 days, from just A, you can tell the answer. But I'm saying that because this is likely to come in examination, you need to show workings. You can't just be telling, results without showing the workings. So we come to the B part. The B part, the I. If the company, so critically discuss the appropriate make or buy decisions in case the item will be used for I, at most 15 days. At most 15 days. So at most 15 days, look at it. Purchase is 13,000 plus 300 D. D is 15 days. So to purchase the item for just 15 days, maximum 15 days, it will cost the company 17,500 cedis. To lease the item, if the item will be used for at most 15 days means that is the highest number of days the company will need it. Meaning it will not go beyond 15 days. Okay. So for 15 days, if the company decides to lease, it will cost them 14,250 cedis. So comparing these two answers, which one should be the best option? Obviously, because we want to minimize costs, we should go for the lease because lease is cheaper or lower than the purchase, especially since the item will be used for at most 15 days. So we need to go for the lease. Anyone with a challenge with the first one, the I part? If you don't understand the I part, let me know.
So please, can you go over again the I part?
Okay. So the I part, if you want to do the I part, like we started with the A part, we have the purchase function. The purchase function is 13,000. This is the purchase function. The purchase function is this, 13,000 plus 300 D. Because if you look at the question carefully, it says that to purchase the item, the cost is 13,000 plus a daily operational cost of 300 cedis. So that is the purchase function. To purchase that is the function. Purchase. So P or purchase equals 13,000 plus 300 D. That is purchase function. The lease function is 900 cedis, 950 cedis, or 950 D. That is a lease function. Okay. So if the item will be used for 15 days, in place of the D, insert the 15. So you go to the purchase equation, insert 15 there for the I, because the question says at most. So look at, the statement here. At most. Sometimes we don't see at most. You see maximum of this, minimum of that. So look at the English. Maximum of this, minimum of that, at least, not exceeding. Look at it carefully. So the I says at most 15 days, meaning the highest number is 15 days. It cannot go beyond 15 days. So the company can use the item maybe 1 day, 2 days, but the highest number will be 15 days, meaning it will not go beyond 15 days. If that is the case, buying the item, leasing the item, as a procurement officer, what should be the decision? I'm saying that your recommendation is not final. So sometimes you make this recommendation. From this calculation, it is better to lease the item, the I. It is better to lease the item. But the top manager say, no, we will buy. What is your problem? Because you are not the final person, but you do. Just make your recommendation. If they will take it or not, fine. Make your recommendation as a professional. So from these figures, we should lease because it is going to save us. You check the difference, about 3,000 cedis or so. But if they say they will buy for no good reason, allow them. But your recommendation must be in writing, clearly. I hope that is
Hello,
fine.
sir.
So, yes, Ni.
Sir, please, I'm wondering because as a procurement manager, I make this decision, I make my recommendations, but I'm the same person my superiors will ask to be the mediator to acquire all these goods.
Mm-hmm.
Won't I be, and what's the word, impersonate that? Can I fight my superiors and say that I said this is the thing, they said no? Won't they put all the blame on me? Because I'm very scared, because the other issue is, when should I also quit? So
Okay.
that I will avoid any trouble for myself. Because if I'm saying my superior is saying this, it means that if there's a problem, would they listen to me more than them? Even though
Who
I've given the
will listen?
records.
Come again. Who will listen to you?
Just in case the board, there's a problem and can be impersonated. And I say, oh, I did my recommendations, this is it. And my superiors are saying, no, I am the one who mediated from beginning to the end. Won't I be in the difficult? So it's complicated.
Yeah. So you see, people have principles in life. People have principles in life, but because of hunger, most of us, what we are doing is not right, but we are still hanging on. Okay, it's because of hunger. People are telling you to do things that are not right, but you are doing it because you want to, eat. Okay, but some people, they have very strong principles. If the thing is not right, they will tell you, I will not do it. So if they don't want any frustration, they will just resign and go. Okay, they will just resign and go. But you are still there because of your stomach. Maybe you are scared that you may not get another job again. That's what I'm saying, that if that is the only option, make sure you put your recommendation in writing, and it will be on the records of the organization that this is what you actually recommended. And because you are not the final approving authority, there's nothing you can do. Okay, so you recommended, but the management are saying, do this. Once you are saying do this, and because of your stomach, you still want to be there, you do it. But it doesn't mean that is your recommendation. Your recommendation is there. It is captured, as part of their report, that this is what you recommended. Okay. But
Yes,
if you think
yes,
if you think that that is not right, the best is that you can just leave. You can just leave. But people are just there. They know. One guy, let me tell you, there was this guy, there was this procurement officer when we were, years ago, we were a private university. The guy, even as a private university, the guy who was in charge resigned and left the university. Because according to him, the pressures from, the top was too much for him to do things outside of procurement. And he didn't want to do that. So he resigned and left. And I really like that guy. So now he's no more in the country. The guy resigned and left. I said, hey, this guy is a serious guy. At the time I was young. I said, hey, Kukwa, this is a serious decision. And I really, really like his decision. Okay, I think I am seeing a couple of hands here. Okay, Mr. Danso, and
Yes,
then
sir.
Mr. Dako. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so just as we are saying, this more like academics. So looking at the figures, 17,500 is always higher than the 14,250. But then we can make the decision that one, if the item that we are using for this particular project is reusable, though we'll be done with this particular project, where we are going to spend 14,000 without having any assets with us. But then when we purchase it for 17,000, by the end of the day, we are going to have a value of 3,250 for the same price of 13,000 with us. Then we can make a decision to buy it, finish the project, and keep the assets.
Okay.
So that's also a decision that the management can make. But basis this one, yes, we know that the lease is lower than the purchase.
Okay. So yes, so that is another side of the issue. But you see, look at the question carefully. At most. So meaning in some situations, the company will need the item just once. It is just a one-time item. One-time item. Okay. One-time item.
Hello, sir.
A pharmaceutical company. Maybe you want to, a pharmaceutical company. You are building a branch somewhere, a branch, and then you need a concrete mixer. The cost is this. Do you buy it? Do you lease it? That is the question. Or a private person, you are building a house. How many houses can you build in your lifetime? Ask yourself. Ask yourself. Concrete mixer, this and that. If you rent it, this is how much it will cost you. If you purchase it, this is how much it will cost you. So if you are thinking of purchasing because the difference is not huge, you also need to consider storage. You need to consider cost. You need to consider maintenance. You need to consider other things. So you see, I said that your recommendation must be solid. Reasons for your recommendation must be clearly spelled out. Why? Because maybe the difference is not huge. So you can even buy and then gift the item to maybe another person or another organization. And then maybe, but in practice, the difference is not this marginal. That is what you need to know. In practice, this is just a hypothetical, analysis. The difference is not this marginal. It is huge, and people will still go in for the other option. Okay, but that notwithstanding, if you have a good reason, because you need to look at, I'm saying that you need to, assumptions are good, as assumptions are part of science. So once you make very good assumptions, even though by just looking at the prices, you may think that lease is cheaper, but you can also make some assumptions, and assumptions will conclude that leasing the item will not be in the best interest of the organization. And for that matter, we are opting for purchase. Solid. Because assumptions are not prophecies. We don't use prophecies or visions. We use science. So, Mr. Danso, that is one side. Very good observation. Thank you. Mr. Dakon, I saw your hand. Go ahead.
Sir, please, my question has been answered. It was a similar question to what Mr. Danso asked. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. But you see, when you have this in examination, in maybe professional seminars or workshops, it is based on the figures you have. So based on the figures you are seeing, what should be the best decision? Based on the figures we have. The other ones, we don't know. We don't know. Okay, but based on the figures we have, what will you do as a procurement officer? What will be your recommendation? That's what we are saying. In examination, what based on the figures you have, what should be the best recommendation? You get it. Hey, Nimanche, go ahead.
Okay, so Doc, per the explanations and the answers you are giving, I'm getting the impression that time is very critical in all of this. The reason is because a decision that may have been arrived at years, let's say 5 years back, when people are looking into it now, and because we are giving room for assumptions and perspectives or discretion, people will need to avert their minds to, at the time of the decision, what were the realities or what were the figures? I'm saying this because of, let's say, an issue like the FX issues. It may be, let's say, 10 now, but in 5 years to come, it may be 15, or it may be less, let's say 8. Then you come and say that, no, why is it that something which is now 8 added, but it costs you more than that?
Yeah.
So time is very critical in all of this, so that when I'm defending a decision I took years back, I'll need to avert their minds that, no, at the time, these were the realities.
Yeah.
And that was why I made this decision in the best interest of the organization. Thank you.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. So at the time, so that's why I said that it must be in writing. So once you are writing, the date, everything is there. So if people want to know, if you are using rates, the rate they will check. If they want to go back to Bank of Ghana, they will check the Bank of Ghana rate at the time, not now. So at the time, at this present moment, this is the best situation looking at all other things. Situations may change tomorrow. So that's why I said that we don't believe in prophecies. But once it is a good assumption, our assumptions are part of science. We assume a lot. So assumption is based on what has happened. Okay, so based on what happened last year, based on what happened this year, what happened the last 5 years, this is likely to happen in the next 5 years. It is based on assumption. Assumption based on, historical data, based on what we have witnessed in the past, based on what we see currently. We are assuming that this is what will happen in the next year or two. And for that matter, we are going for this. Okay. And we are still Nathan from Nimanche to Nathan. Nathan, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, please make or buy decision. Just as Randolph said. So look at this scenario for me also. I'm a construction company and I want to build a story building or a skyscraper. And I know very well that I'll need possibly bamboo. Normally when they are building, they use the bamboo woods to hold the buildings. And so with that bamboo holdings, sometimes you have to go and rent.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to buy them. So I'm looking at it at this scenario that if I am the construction company, because consistently I'll be building those buildings, I'd rather buy the bamboo goes down. But if I am an individual that I want to build a story building, I don't need to go and buy the bamboo and come and put it down, because once I finish building my house, I don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
It means I have to either sell it or even rent it. So you get my scenario. So
perfect.
Can I also use it that, okay, as an individual, if I may have the storage facility to hold that bamboo woods for the rest of their life and be renting it, or I should go and rent and use it to build. Once I'm done, I take it back.
Okay,
Comparing the two.
Okay.
So it's a two scenarios that if I am a construction company, I'd rather choose to buy and store it and then use it. And if I'm an individual, I'll go and rent and use it for maybe 3 days or a month. Then I take it back.
Okay,
so I'll spend. Yeah, I think that's how I understand this.
I like the way you want to argue about this. Wonderful.
Yeah, Doc.
Me?
I want to come from the opposite side to my friend, what he just said. So, very fantastic something. But I'm looking at it. Let's say you are building just your house. and then you decide that no, it would make a lot of sense if you just rent it, and then after that, that's all. But I'm also looking at it that I'm building my house, and then part of my plan is that I'm going to have a backyard, farm, let's say for birds, on a semi-intensive. With that in mind, I think it would make sense if I buy, because I can use that again to construct a place for my birds. So it would not
but I
be
don't think
necessarily that at all point in time, because of one, and also the other way, when he was talking about, let's say you're a construction firm, and then you say that you buy it so that because you are building a lot of houses, but the location also matters. For example, you are a construction firm and you decide to buy, and then you have to go and do a building at Kasua. It's going to attract another cost because you have to convey these things, transport them from your location, let's say, which is at Tema, to Kasua.
I have trucks who do that too. As a company, I have my trucks.
You have trucks, but part of the other cost is fuel. The trucks will not, they will not move by themselves. Somebody has to drive. Maybe you have a driver already, but you need to fuel it. It brings in another cost.
Oh, no, as a company, I've already factored in all this. More than an individual that you want to do the bird farm. I don't think only the bamboo. You buy other things as well. And I mean, you have to maintain it. Where it will be, you need to find security, all that. So all the
But
cost must come in for that.
it lessens the cost overall. I hope you agree with me. If I have part of the things that I will use already, I have some, it lessens the overall cost, which is the total cost of acquisition.
After that, where you keep the bamboos is also another challenge. So that no theft. Remember that. So you must have a security man to stand by it.
No, but
another cost.
So I want to join their argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with the bamboo issue, sometimes it depends on the type of construction you are dealing in, because there are some of the construction works you can use the bamboo only once. So in that case, both knees, what do they do?
Then we go for the other one.
Therefore, I think it's an individual kind of, because you need to assess it, right?
Exactly. That is my point. That it cannot be a straight jacket for all situations.
No, you have to do your assessment. Check whatever there is for you, whatever you can use it for. Because even the machinery that we are talking about now, maybe they even have a sale value of maybe 10,000. The one we are working on. Maybe you can have a resale value of 10,000. So basis that you can do give your recommendation that, okay, though the cost is 17,000, leasing is 14,000. After everything, we can sell it for 10,000 or 5,000. And then when you put it together, it's still higher than this. But what we are doing now is academic. So with what you see here, you only speak to this. But then when it comes to the practicality,
the
reality, you go into more details of your recommendation. You go into more details, right, which is science, exactly, because everything you are going to give out supposed to be based.
I agree.
Wonderful. So I think you are happy now. Okay, so so looking at the figures, looking at what is before you, under the circumstance, what is the best decision? Okay, looking at the figures before you, what should be the best decision? So that is what we are talking about here, because you'll be judged based on the decision you took at the time. And I've mentioned this time without number that it must always be in favor of the organization, not the practitioner. But some practitioners, will obviously do things that everybody will see that this is not in the best interest of the organization. It is to their personal benefit, and that is dangerous as procurement professionals. Very dangerous. Okay, so once you are looking at other things, then you need to come clear on that. Okay, so like you were mentioning about security costs, you were mentioning about storage and all that. So you are making assumptions. So in this case, assuming the cost of storage is this, assuming the cost of security is this, assuming this maintenance is the wear and tear, among others. So you ask yourself, the bamboo thing you were stressing so much on, how long do contractors or construction people use bamboo? How long, if you buy one today, can it last for 5 years, 10 years? You ask yourself. And what is the rate at which you undertake construction project? Maybe every year, how many projects do you construct? Okay, so you need to be asking a lot of questions. But on the face of what we have here, clearly, one thing is obvious. Okay, one thing is obvious. The other things we don't know. So we need to be careful. So I hope the first calculation is okay by, I think, the few who said we were having some challenges with it. Do you still find it difficult to understand? In fact, this was not what we were supposed to do today. I was supposed to go through them briefly, and then we move to today's task. But what's the time now? I think we are behind schedule. Are we okay? Are we on the same level now? If you still don't understand, let me know, because you are likely to meet this somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's very clear now. So
thanks for the heads up, sir.
Kuka, so you are still in Ghana?
Yeah, I just arrived, sir.
Oh, thank God. Okay, wonderful. So that is that for the first part, and then we had the second part. So the second part, so now look at the second question, the II. The purchase cost is the same as the lease cost. So in this case, what should be the decision? So here you need to look at. So here, the decision to pick one over the other is not based on price. It's not based on the cost. It will be based on other factors. Okay? So the organization will look at those factors and then select based on which one will suit the organization. Because the price or the cost for the two options are the same. So what do? Whether you lease or you purchase, the same cost. So if you're not thinking about any other thing, I think going for one over the other will not make you lose. But I'm saying that if you are being more strategic, the decision here is not on the cost, because the costs for the two options are the same. It will be coming from other consideration, not the cost itself. So you'll be looking at the storage. Do we have, it is the same. The costs are the same. But do we have a place to store this? Do we have security arrangement in place for this? Do we intend to reuse it? So you need to consider other factors. So if those factors are not in your favor, to avoid them, what do? I would say, let me lease, because there are no plans to use the product or the item again in the future. Keeping them now means incurring more cost, because you'll be looking at storage facility, you'll be looking at security, you'll be looking at other factors. So to avoid those things, let me lease. Once it's done, it's done. I don't bother myself with storage and other things. But the other organization may say that no, since the costs are the same, let us buy. Keep it. We can even dash it to somebody free of charge. So the point here is that it will not based on the cost itself, but other factors. Okay, so that is start with the make or buy analysis. I don't think you have any question. You don't.
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yes. Hey.
So if the question says make or buy, and probably purchases going with buy, then it's least the make.
So we have make or buy. Sometimes it will be what? Buy or lease. It will be what? The other options. So we are using this to explain all the other factors, all the other decisions. Borrow or lease. Okay, so if you want to borrow or if you want to lease, if you want to do this, what is the best decision? So
Okay,
the
so
bottom
say
line,
that
the
is
bottom line
synonymous
is,
to make.
yeah, so the bottom line is that whatever decision you're making, choosing A over B should come with a good reason. That is the point. Choosing option A, option B, decision A over decision B, the bottom line is that it must come with what? A superior justification. Okay. So you don't make a decision and then a class 1 student will say, but this one, it is not a good decision. So why it happens, what will come into your mind? People will think that you don't do anything. Okay, because this decision, even a class 1 people will not do it. It's like telling me if you know Accra very well, you know the city of Accra very well, and then maybe you know Mankasim very well, and telling people that Mankasim is far, far developed than Accra. These are all, you see, so when you do that, people say, but this guy, is he correct? So don't allow people to use that tag. Is he correct? Because your decision is not, it doesn't make sense. So as a professional, you need to come out with professional decisions from your experience, from your education, from everything. Whatever decision you are making is an informed decision. Okay, it is not just coming from your stomach. It is a properly thought through decision based on figures, based on science, based on data. Mr. Danso, you again, go ahead.
Afari, just going through the TCA, just remind me of, mentioning a price of vehicles in Ghana, and somebody will just go online and tell you that Toyota box is just about $2,500 in UK, without considering the freight and then the duties and the taxes involved in the acquisition of the item.
Yeah.
And so that is one thing that we also have to take into consideration, and even the time in intervals that when you buy from Japan, the number of days that it's going to take even to get to Ghana here, as against buying it locally with the price and then all those details. So that is something that came to mind since you do a lot of vehicles. So
You are right. Yeah, you are right. Because you see, I'm on the number is on WhatsApp, as you can see, but I don't do status and all that. So students think that I'm not online. So I watch student status a lot. One time, one of my past students, I think she works at the port. I saw on her status, I saw a vehicle with a price. But my wife said I should buy her a particular vehicle. So the moment I saw the vehicle with a price, I said, "Wow, this is the car." My wife said, "Oh, it's okay. That is the good car. So let's buy." So when I reached out to her, the lady said, "Oh, the car is not here. Oh. The car is in South Korea or something." I said, "Hey." So we calculated the duty, the shipping, and other things. I said, "No, it doesn't make sense to go for that vehicle." So sometimes the price alone will not be enough. The price alone will not be enough to make an informed decision. Okay. So we need to be looking at other things. That is where the total acquisition cost. And sometimes you may even want to, even though most institution individuals do not even pay attention to the TCO, but at least for the total acquisition cost, we need to consider that. Okay. So don't just fall for a particular product because the price is competitive. No. Look at the location of the product. Look at other, you know, uh, costs likely to crop up as a result of moving the product from the supplier's point to your location. Okay, so we need to consider all that. So on that note, I think we will end here and continue next week. Next week, per the calendar, is supposed to be I don't know, I think it's the last meeting or
That is the last meeting,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
yes, the last meeting, and then hopefully we will be doing face to face. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. The
Uh-huh.
face to
So
face is actually the face to face.
it's face to face, right?
Yes, last week. Next week is actually the face to face.
Okay, so we will meet and then complete the task. But when you are coming as usual, you need to come prepared because we are likely to, do some quiz. So just come. This you have been informed. Don't tell me you didn't tell us. So before we draw the curtains down, let me take my attendance briefly. Emmanuel, your
Yes,
hand
sir.
is up. I
Yes,
don't think
sir.
you want to,
Tell
whether
me,
you
sir.
like it or not, we are all coming to Tesano next weekend.
Sir, as we speak now, I'm even out of town. I'm doing my
We have
lectures
been
somewhere in
told.
the country.
Okay.
Yeah, so
You
that
will
is the reason
see.
I raised
I,
my
I,
I raised
I,
up my hand.
I knew it. I knew it.
You
So,
still right. Sir, he was still right.
yes, yes, yes. So we will manage the situation, Ima. Okay.
Very well, Doc. Very well, Doc.
Okay. So
There is a make or buy decision for him.
Ken, why?
okay. So we are done. See you next weekend. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.
I sir.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Paul, Paul, Paul.